Hello YouTubers, Duty WWII here. In this video I'm going to benchmark Call of Duty World War II on a single GTX 970 paired with my old Core i7-860. The video is recorded on an external recorder as always, so what you will see in this video will be pure performance. The system is overclocked, of course. The CPU is running at 4 GHz. There we are. No need to stress it with anything else. 12 GB of memory, and the graphics card is a GTX 970, a Gigabyte G1 model. Latest force were installed, and it is also overclocked in order to boost at 1.5 GHz, which we will verify soon enough. I'm going to use fraps to collect frame rate data from my custom gameplay session. We will see the basic result in this file and some analysis with flat and a comparison with the GTX 1070 and the Core i5 8600K at the end of the video. So let's launch the game and let's see what kind of performance we can be expecting from the GTX 970, mainly the GTX 970, because the game seems to be primarily GPU limited. So, settings first, game window no border. Due to my recorder, it prefers no border than full screen. For the advanced settings, I'm using, of course, 1080p resolution. The same settings I was using on my GTX 1070 video. Sub-pixel morphological anti-aliasing, although this is not the highest available anti-aliasing, but from what I have seen, it looks the best, and the performance here is the same as with the rest of the anti-aliasing methods. So anyway, I prefer this one. The rest of the stuff, however, is maxed out. Extra normal,
It's 7 weeks since D-Day. To break out of Normandy, we're pushing in. Me and the fellas, I'd say we're doing pretty good. Not good enough for Pearson, but nothing is. Maybe I'll get home by Christmas with a couple medals.
First platoon, we're rolling out. Let's go! Let's go!
Hey. You know, a wound like this takes 8 weeks to heal.
I'm ready, Sergeant. You've got my word.
Oh, your word, huh? That don't mean shit to me. So you're good, huh?
I'm just fine and dandy, sir.
You got guts, Private. I just don't want to see him.
Tanks rolling! Hang on tight, boys. It's gonna get rough. What else is new?
I think Pearson likes you.
Like a lion likes a steak.
Let's go! Let's go!
Looks like you're holding up all right.
Yeah, how about yourself?
Couldn't let you guys have all the fun.
Fun's not allowed under Pearson. You know why he's always writing you? Kasserine Pass.
Lost my best friends there.
Yeah, earned him an Article 15 and a demotion. He had to be a hard ass, and his men paid the price. Mission was Fubar, a massacre. Nazis had no mercy. Hell, we only survived because they didn't have time to seal the western exit. Almost lost everything thanks to that son of a bitch. And Turner still ain't over it. Matter of fact, he was the one who wrote him up. But Pearson figures if he makes you a model platoon, you'll get it scrubbed.
Only we're doing the scrubbing.
Yeah, now you're getting it. It's why he's never gonna give up. He'd kill to have it removed.
You know what I'd kill for? Decent grub.
You just had supper.
Hey, shit on a shingle doesn't count.
Hey, how about barbecue, eh?
They never stood a chance.
I'm guessing no to the open casket.
Yeah, that's somebody's son.
Nah, it's a crowd.
Daniels is right. They're not all bad.
They did give us Kepler, Mozart.
All right, college.
Marlena Dietrich.
See, that's more like it.
Don't forget about their inventions. You got the printing press, electron microscope.
Frankfurters.
You guys are killing me.
You guys hear that?
He's headed this way!
Stukas, inbound!
Mierda! Clear the tanks!
Enemy armor!
Get off the road! We'll circle around! Move!
Let's go!
We have to protect our Shermans. That's black fire in the distance. We're gonna capture one of their AA guns to bring down those Stukas.
MG's in the barn!
Shit! Everyone down! We gotta hit those MGs! I need teams on the left and right! Go, go, go!
Target's on the second floor!
Push into the field! We need to rally with our tanks!
Spread out!
Move! Push him back! them!
Come on, they're on the run! Keep pushing!
Hold your fire! You two, secure those prisoners!
Down!
Keep us moving!
Down! There's the flak gun! Getting close!
Those Stukas are killing our tanks! Armor needs our support! We're gonna take the AA gun behind that tree line!
There's the AA gun! Clean up these cracks and help our tanks out!
Get on that flak gun and take out those Stukas! Those bombers are killing our armor! You gotta take them down! Here they come! 1 o'clock! Got one!
Guy on the radio sounds pissed! Crowds don't know what's happening!
More coming in!
11 o'clock!
Target destroyed! Going down! They're on to us! Stuka's attacking our position! Nice shot, Daniel! Above! Target destroyed! Dead ahead!
He's going down!
That's all you got?
Not yet!
2 o'clock! Nice shot, Daniel! 1 o'clock high! There's too many!
Stay sharp!
1 o'clock high!
Hit him, Daniel!
That's all of them. Good job, Daniels. Hey, Perez. Hey, Perez. You okay?
They got my buddy Mills in the ambush, but we hit him back hard. The holdouts are dug in with packs up ahead. Gotta clean them out.
All right, Pearson, take a fire team through the orchard and find an overwatch position. After you soften up the packs, I'll lead the main assault with Perez.
Yes, sir.
Daniel, Zussman, you're with me. Come on.
Daniels, hurry up and get to the road.
Hey, Perez says Pack 38s. What the hell's that?
German artillery. Tank killers. Didn't you read the briefing?
What are we supposed to do against tank killers?
I was wondering that myself. It's one of ours. P-47.
Damn it. Wish I would have gotten to that flak gun sooner.
Can't blame yourself.
those are civilians. This is a war crime.
No shit, college.
Over here!
Nazis.
We've got a vantage point! Get out your binoculars! There's Perez and his boys. They're heading right into hell. We gotta hit those pack operators hard. Everyone open fire!
I got eyes on 2 packs. Daniels, take up those crews.
Pick up that sniper rifle, Daniels!
This pack crew is dead! There's one more! That pack 38 still has a gunner! It's firing on our tanks!
Those pack 38 crews are down. Our tanks are moving up.
Mop up the rest of the trucks in the trenches!
The performance was not bad. The system did have some difficult times at moments, but overall we have a 61 frames per second average, respectable frame rate result. Of course, the pure performance will not be exactly that, but it's still very playable. We can see the frame rate is quite decent, much lower than the GTX 1070 with the Core i5 8600K, of course, but still playable. The frame times are showing more spikes compared to the previous GTX 1070 benchmark. The GPU usage is 99 to 98%, so we don't have any CPU limit. The CPU usage shows activity on all cores, quite probably some thread switching going on. The CPU usage is below 50% of course, so we are indeed looking at some thread switching, but overall the CPU performance is very decent. CPU temps are okay, justified by the low CPU usage, of course. GPU temps also okay. RAM usage is having some spikes at 10 gigabytes, which is a lot considering that the system has 12 gigabytes of memory. It is spreading it thin at some points, but still okay. 1.5 gigahertz for the core clock of the video card, no problem here. The video RAM is of course maxed out throughout the benchmark, some points with lower video RAM here, but overall at 4 gigabytes throughout the run. Still a good performance for maxed out video RAM on the GTX 970. We know that it has a little issue with some of its video RAM. And let's move to flat to make things interesting. So I want this benchmark, and of course I'm going to also open the GTX 1070 with the i7, the i5 8600K, which is on the same location but on my other drive. This is the GTX 1070 run that I did a little earlier. So overall we can see that we have a comparable of 44 frames per second from 60.9 from 61. We have a higher variability and stuttering compared to the GTX 1070 system. So not only did we get lower performance but also a worse comparable in comparison. Let's see how the frame times look. We need to zoom this into 60 milliseconds in order to have a fair visual comparison with my GTX 1070 run. Unfortunately, as you can see, we have some huge spikes during the run. That's why the graph has zoomed out by itself so much. These spikes were not existing in the GTX 1070 system. The stuttering is also a lot higher, with some very bad spikes all over the run. This may be due to the lower video RAM, of course, because the system is forced to switch and swap some data, so these things tend to happen. And of course the GTX 970 is a lower spec video card, there's no denying that. Time spent beyond 16.6 milliseconds is quite a lot, at 45.5%. It was a lot lower, if you remember. Where the fuck is it? Yes. It was a lot lower on the GTX 1070 with the 8600K at 0.72%. Completely different performance. The histogram of the frame times is also moved to the left due to the huge spikes that have occurred in these frame time locations. And of course we can see that most of the frame times are above 16 milliseconds, unfortunately. Not most, but a lot of them. So we are looking at the borderline acceptable performance if we are looking for 60 frames per second gameplay. So let me make the GTX 1070 a red one for easy distinguishing, and we can see instantly that indeed the other system with the GTX 1070 was a lot faster throughout the run. Thankfully my two runs were very much the same in terms of duration. The frame rate is also of course a lot faster for the GTX 1070 with the Core i5 8600K. No, nothing strange here. Min, max and averages. It is one of those moments that the maximum of the GTX 970 is close to the average of the GTX 1070. Let me do some calculations here. 104 divided by 61. The GTX 1070 system has 70% performance advantage, which is a lot of course, and the minimum is completely different, but we will see that in a better graph soon enough. This one, which shows the average and the 1% lows and the 0.1% lows. We can see that even the 1% lows is higher than the average of the 970. This is a huge difference of course, and if we take the two 1% lows, we have sorry, this is the 63 divided by the 38, my bad. Again 66% performance difference, and the 53 divided by the 26 is 200%. The 0.1% is hugely different due to the huge spikes we saw at some points, which were evident with the naked eye. No need for all this analysis at these parts. However, the analysis is important to distinguish the two runs. We can see that stuttering and the variability, which is largely in favor of the GTX 1070 system. The percentiles also show a very big difference for the GTX 1070 compared to the GTX 970. Now I'm pretty sure if I put the GTX 1070 and the GTX 970 on the other systems, the difference would be about the same, because the main problem with this game is that it is GPU limited, of course, and quite probably frame buffer limited at some points for the GTX 970. Time spent beyond curves, and lastly, of course, the two comparables. Huge difference again. Let's also do some calculation on that. 77% difference, even worse than the straight average. That shows that what I told you in the beginning of the flat analysis, the comparable is even worse for the GTX 970 due to the stuttering and the variability. Overall, the performance of this system is acceptable. The game is playable. Personally, I would have for real life gaming, I would have switched or turned down some settings for the GTX 970, especially the ones that consume a lot of video RAM. This would make things, of course, a lot easier for the system. Stay tuned for more benchmarks, my friend. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon.